A very good evening to you. And evening once again from the Sweet and Swing studio here at Manx Radio. Studio 3 the rest of the week. My name's H, great to be with you. What have we got? Well, another wonderful programme of some of the best sounds from long ago and far away. Billy Cotton, Les Brown and his band of renown. More from Perry. But to start off, a good adage. Tain't what you got. It's the way that you cha-cha-cha. Or something like that. Here's Nakanella.
Three. My daddy said, son, come here to me. Now things may come and things may go, but here's one thing you ought to know.
Say what you do.
It's the way how you do it.
Say what you do.
It's the way how you do it.
Say what you do.
It's the way how you do it.
Let work get its result.
Yes, yes.
Say what you do.
It's the time how you do it.
Say what you do.
It's the time how you do it.
Say what you do.
It's the time how you do it.
Let work get its result. If you try hard, don't mean nothing.
Don't mean nothing.
Take it easy.
Oh, we say.
Then your jive will swing.
Mama.
Take what you do.
It's the place how you do it.
Take what you do.
It's the time how you do it.
Take what you do.
It's the way how you do it. That's what gets results.
Good way to get going. Ain't what you do. It's the way that you do it. Or variations on that theme. It ain't what you got. Whatever you want to say. Nat Ganella and the Georgians. I think he liked playing around with it one way or another. A great sound from Nat to get us going. And no stranger to the Isle of Man. He, of course, played here many times. And as I've mentioned before, you go to the wiki page, you'll see a nice picture of him playing at Laxey Station in the 1980s, I would guess. Somewhere around there when he used to come over as a guest of the Manx Jazz Club for the then Manx Jazz Festival. sadly no longer with us, either the festival or Nat. However, there is a jazz festival that Mr. J. Carter Esquire has been busy trying to build up again down in Port Erin. So, things are looking up. And Jerry's driving that one forward. I'm sure he'll do more so now that he's retired. In any case, Nat, a great favourite of the old maestro, who always said that Nat Gonella and his Georgians were the band that first turned him on, that's Jim, my dad, to jazz in the first place. He's born in North London and played briefly with Roy Fox in the 1930s, early 1930s, when he was and remained in the band when Lou Stone, Fox's former pianist, took over leadership the following year. And with Stone's band, he established his reputation. When Louis Armstrong visited London in 1932, Gonella met him by begging the staff at the Boozy and Hawkes music shop to allow him to deliver Armstrong's trumpet, which had been left at the shop for cleaning. Armstrong appreciated his willingness to help, and apparently the two went on to become great friends. And then Nat himself went on to build up his reputation, formed the Georgians in 1935. And the band's name, the Georgians, why the Georgians, you might wonder, which is quite frequently what I have done over the years. Well, it's because it was a popular song of the time, which they liked featuring, Georgia on My Mind. He recorded that for Lou Stone in 1932, and it became the trumpeter's signature tune. So, Georgia, he was with the Georgians, and then the New Georgians later on, of course. But the Georgians originally began as a band within Stone's shows before setting up as a name in their own right. And he was very much on the circuit before the outbreak of the Second War. And then during that time, he entertained the troops, toured around Europe and such like, and then came back afterwards, reformed the band after the war. But of course, it was a different climate down, it was a different time, and bebop was beginning to take off in the jazz world. And I think Nat had a go at bebop, but admitted, yeah, it's not really my bag. He was much more from the vaudeville and the trad and Dixie type style of jazz, which he went back to, and which served him well because there was then a post-war sort of boom in that sort of music, a sort of a revival in the interest in traditional jazz in the late 50s and into the early 60s. And then the Beatles came and, well, yeah, you know the rest. However, he kept on going, and he was still playing here and there, including the Isle of Man, and entertaining way up into the 1960s and 70s, and I think up to the early 80s as well, and died, I think, in the 1990s. Great character. I don't think I actually met him, but certainly the old maestro, Jim, did on numerous occasions and said he was quite a character and a nice chap. And I know there's a story goes that Humphrey Lyttelton, the great raconteur and artist and wonderful trumpeter and jazz musician, well known in the British Isles, of course, cited Nat as the person who first turned him on to jazz, one of his first jazz heroes. To Sweet and Swing, H with you through until the top of the hour. Let's see what Don Redmond is up to. He's shaking the African, and here he is.
Gang, it looks like we picked out the wrong spot this evening, don't it, huh? You know, this sweet music's all right, but we always been a bunch that go in for plenty of pep and excitement. I know where to go. Let's get our coats and hats and get out this joint, huh? Come on, then, let's go from here, where we can have some fun, I mean. When the shadows are creeping and stars go peeping to the rhythm of the band, boy, downtown's uptown, shaking that African. It's a brand new movement, but boy, what an improvement. You know, the gang goes loco doing that African. Them corner tricks and red hot licks, and they mow you down. And if you want a treat to low down beat, boy, come on uptown. Better than a black bottom. It's really in there. Started up here, too. Oh, shaking an African. Let me tell you, boy, this is the biggest craze in New York City. And if you don't learn this dance, oh, what a pity, a pity.
Great stuff. It sounds really modern in many ways, doesn't it? You think it's sort of almost like a precursor to rap. Now, I'm not a fan of rap, I hasten to add particularly. I mean, I can see there's a skill in it, but it doesn't do anything for me. But that sort of scat-type talk there, which he's doing at the beginning there, really effective and great fun. Don Redman, I beg your pardon, and his orchestra with Shaken the African, as he says there. But terrific stuff. Don himself, another character from all accounts. And if you've ever heard or know the character Betty Boop, I used to be a great fan of Betty Boop, the cartoon character with her short flapper skirt and 1920s hairstyle. Used to have a Betty Boop sweatshirt at one stage, I think. But Don provided the music for the animated short. I Heard, part of the Betty Boop series produced by Fletcher Studios and distributed by Paramount. And he started off with Fletcher Henderson, mostly playing clarinet and saxophones, then began writing arrangements, and was really quite influential in forming what the sound was. It became swing in many ways. Don definitely played his part in creating the sound of swing music with his arrangements and his harmonies under the solos. Formed his own band in 1931, and like I said, did pretty well out of that, and then made a short film for Warner Brothers, I think, in the mid-1930s. And when he disbanded the orchestra later on in life, he concentrated on doing freelance work and writing arrangements for other musicians, and some of those became great hits for the likes of Jimmy Dorsey, Count Basie and Harry James. And then he travelled over to Europe in the mid-1940s towards the or just after the war, and led an all-star band that included Don Byas, Tyree Glenn and Billy Taylor, and also appeared on the Uptown Jubilee, I'm told, on the CBS television network for the 1949 series. And finally, I can tell you he was music director for the singer Pearl Bailey. So not a bad life in the scale of things. And I'm loving that one. Yeah, come on, let's get out there. I'm sure he said something like shifting that ass. It's all very modern beat talk, isn't it? Great stuff. Here's one I dug out of the bag quite recently. I don't know if I played this one before, actually. Eric Parkin on piano, a tribute to Billy Mayle, Puppets, the album is called, and this is Crystal Clear. Crystal Clear by Billy Mayle, played there by Eric Parkin at the piano. And Billy Mayle, wonderful composer, and in that sort of, I don't know what you call it, sort of novelty light music, it sort of borders somewhere between jazz and classical, doesn't it? That one has a distinctly sort of classical feel, and as it's remarked by Eric himself, has no syncopation really, but other pieces, Marigold and such like, much more sort of syncopated and have much more of a jazzy feel. But that was the area he sort of operated in, Billy Mayle. Never had the best of health, and certainly post-war was always fighting with health issues, but continued to carry on playing and exploring this field of light piano music with a wonderful light touch and style. And also he founded the Light Music Society. Morris would be a great fan of that, wouldn't he? A little light music. And edited the early numbers of the Journal. I don't know if it's still going or not. He was born, incidentally, on Tottenham Court Road. I suppose there are many individual dwellings there these days on Tottenham Court Road. And of the piece itself, Crystal Clear, subtitled A Rondo in Rhythm, in the early 1950s. And we're told that when Mrs. Mayle, who revelled in the name of Ermenegilda, but she was known as Jill by and large, Ermenegilda is a great name, isn't it? When she heard Billy working on this piece and playing bits again and again, she came up with the title Crystal Clear. And Eric says the C section's marked Alberguin, but it keeps going at the same pace and snippets from the A strain reappear, and there's practically no syncopation, which there isn't there, realistically. Again, the old maestro used to be a dab hand at interpretations of Billy Mayle. We're going to have a bit of Perry now. Been dipping into this selection of 4 albums from our friends at Avid. This is from Make Someone Happy. And that's exactly what we're going to do now, hopefully, particularly if you're a Perry fan.
Make someone happy. Make just one someone happy. Make just one heart the heart you sing to. One smile that cheers you. One face that lights when it nears you. One girl you're everything to. Fame, if you win it, comes and goes in a minute. Where's the real stuff in life to cling to? Love is the answer. Someone to love is the answer. Once you've found her, build your world around her. Make someone happy. Make just one someone happy, and you will be happy too. The real stuff in life to cling to. Love is the answer. Someone to love is the answer. Once you found her, build your world around her. Make someone happy. Make just one someone happy, and you will be happy too. You'll be happy too. You'll be happy.
Lovely stuff. Toots Thielemans on guitar there. Equally good on harmonica as well as guitar. Toots, of course, although didn't always necessarily go down well with the French public, him playing on harmonica. I'm just reading a note there saying that's when he was playing in the 1960s, I think it was, and Benny Goodman wanted to hire Toots for the group. He was going to front at the Paramount Theatre to double guitar and harmonica, and he said this despite the fact that the French public had booed Toots as a harmonica player. And jazz critic Boris Vian had even written in the review Combat, Toots Thielemans playing Laura on the harmonica made us sorry we missed the astonishing things he would have played on a more suitable instrument. As it happened, the same year, Toots did join Goodman anyway for a tour that introduced him to the company of Zoot Sims and Roy Eldridge. And also Charlie Parker, whom he met briefly in the Plings in the Wings at the Salle Playal. And Toots would later play with him in Sweden and Philadelphia. And he remarked sometimes we'd have to lift Bird so he could stand up and help put his saxophone to his lips. Yeah, I mean, it's not possible, is it? He was in such a bad state, and then he would still play wonderfully. But, oh, dear me. Hopefully those times have gone. Wonderful sound in any case. Willow, Weep for Me. I better mention the rest of the band he was playing with there, hadn't I? Seeing as they were such a great sound. I don't think you'll probably recognise most of them. It was with a French group as well, with Georges Aventunas on a piano, Toots, of course, on guitar, Roland Le Bligard on double bass, and Philippe Crombel at the drums, or batterie, as they say. 1961, that was recorded. Bit of Billy Cotton. Haven't heard from Billy for a while. Wakey, wakey. Well, yeah, he's got some more sage advice here than just wakey, wakey. It's a sin to tell a lie. Wise advice, as they say. It's a sin to tell a lie. Billy Cotton with the Boys. Great character he was as well, and very fond of boxing and motor cars, if memory serves correct. Sweet and Swing, H with you. Don't forget, if you have any thoughts at any stage, and as we said last week, if you're listening in one of those further flung places where we know people do listen on the podcast, Italy, Germany, Guatemala was mentioned, wasn't it? Australia, Austria. Wonderful, really. Get in touch. Drop us a line, howardkane@manxradio.com. And I'd be delighted to hear from you. Give us some thoughts, say hello, we'll say hello back, and if you've got something you'd like to hear, we'll see what we can do to play it. Can't say fairer than that, can you? And it'll cost you absolutely nothing. I mean, how much cheaper can you get? It's one of the few things, something for nothing there. And if you don't want to request, just say hello and have a mention in any case. We've been enjoying this jazz and vocal collection of three-dimensional sounds, stereo from mono conversions. This one's going back into the annals a bit. We are gonna move. Washboard Sam and his Washboard Band.
town. When I get you, mama, we gonna move on the outskirts of town. Because I don't want nobody, woo, always hanging around. Well, the reason, mama, I don't want you to stay here. I don't need no ice man. I'm gonna get me a Frigidaire. That's why I'm gonna move on the outskirts of town. Because, sweet baby, I don't want no ice man hanging around. Well, I'm gonna heat with gas, mama, and not with coal. I don't need no coal man stopping and hauling coal. That's why we gonna move on the outskirts of town. Because I don't want no coal man always hanging around. Well, I'm gonna bring my groceries, mama, myself every day. That's gonna keep that grocery boy, I know away. That's what I'm gonna do when we move on the outskirts of town. Because I don't want no deliver boy always hanging around. Well, it may be funny, mama, as funny as can be. If we have any babies, I want them all to look like me. That's why I'm gonna move on the outskirts of town. Because I don't want nobody, woo, always hanging around.
1932. Does sound pretty clear, doesn't it? You've got to give it that. You wouldn't think it was recorded in the early parts of the 1930s. We're gonna move. Washboard Sam and his Washboard Band. Washboard Sam himself on the vocals there. And Black Bob on piano, a mystery figure. No one really knows exactly who Black Bob was. Big Bill Broonzy on guitar, very well known in the blues circuit. I could have given that one almost to John Barker on a Tuesday night before he could have got a bit of blues into. There's a lot of crossover in some of these specialist programs, you know. I'm sure John could have got away with that one on a Tuesday night. Washboard Sam, the professional name of Robert Brown. But as it says in the notes, the mystery surrounding the identity of Black Bob continues to this day. I think all he's known is Black Bob. Presumably he was called Robert and he was black. And that's all we know about him. It seems a shame, really, for a musician. But Robert Brown recorded extensively for Bluebird and Vocalion, both as an accompanist to several artists, including Broonzy, who you heard there. And the song there, a medium-tempo 12-bar blues. That sounds about right. And then in the liner notes, we are told the first chorus being taken as an instrumental. That's true. With Sam's clear tones extolling 5 good reasons for moving on succeeding stanzas. I bet you all thought that as well.
honeysuckle rose. When you're passing by, flowers droop and sigh, and I know the reason why. You're much sweeter, goodness knows. honeysuckle rose. Don't buy sugar, you just have to touch my cup. You're my sugar, it's sweet when you stir it up. When I'm taking sips from your tasty lips, seems the honey fairly drips. Your confection, goodness knows, honeysuckle rose.
Jack Simpson and his sextet, Betty Kent taking the vocals, Honeysuckle Rose. Playing that really just because I've got the honeysuckle out in my bird garden out the side of the house at the moment, a little patch where we can sit in the sun. I say sit in the sun, if the sun ever comes out, but, well, you know where I'm coming from in any case. Not been much of a summer so far, realistically, for sitting in the sun. But we live in hope. Yeah, a nice little patch there, and lovely honeysuckle there, trailing over the trellis, and my goodness me, one of the great evocative smells of a Manx summer, I think. Well, an English summer maybe as well. Honeysuckle of a lovely summer's evening. I'm just hoping we get the lovely summer's evening to enjoy the scent of the honeysuckle at some stage or other. Lovely, good up-tempo number. We're going to have a bit of Louis. I've been enjoying digging into this one. Again, Louis Bellson with 4 albums. Just Jazz All-Stars, Concerto for Drums, The Hawk Talks, and At the Flamingo we heard last week. And we're going to stay at the Flamingo. We mentioned earlier on how Nat Ganella and his Georgians were named after Sweet Georgia Brown. And here she is. Yes, good ending from Louis Bellson there. Rather the opposite of last week's track from Louis, where it was all subtlety on the sticks, and that one's a bit more showman, a bit more flamboyant with a bit of bass drum use, or double bass drum use there, probably knowing Louis, and a good amount of snare technique in his little solo. Very good indeed. Sweet Georgia Brown. And yeah, we started with Sweet Georgia, or thought about Sweet Georgia with Nat Canella, and they were sort of pretty much almost ending up with Sweet Georgia herself being performed by Louis Bellson and his quartet live at the Flamingo. Louis on drums, Don Abney piano, Charles Truck Parham bass, Harry Edison. Harry Sweets Edison, I suppose we should call him, on the trumpet. Did see him, he played over here on the Isle of Man at least once, if not twice, at the Manx Jazz Club. Les Brown and his band of renown, I promised you at the beginning of the programme, and if I don't rabbit too much, we shall hear him as well. Another little twofer on this thing, little package we've got here. Dance to South Pacific with Les Brown, and then we'll also hear a track, I think, I've Got My Love to Keep Me Warm, from the Les Brown story. But we'll start off with, well, I hope this isn't you, Loneliness of the Evening. Les Brown and his band of renown. A little twofer there for you from Les to finish off. From Dance to South Pacific, The Loneliness of the Evening, and then I've Got My Love to Keep Me Warm. I hope you do as well. See you next week. Take care. Cheerio.